Hey gang, I just wanted to make a quick follow-up video to Tammy and Keith Part B from 2017. I just wanted to try to make it like as clear as I could about how to choose an answer for Part B if you were taking a graphical approach. You know, like you were making a graph and you were trying to come up with the answer by a graph, by this graphing method, okay? So just try to remember again that when you graph a linear inequality with the shading and everything, dashed line, maybe a solid line, and you do all the shading, you are just drawing a picture of all the solutions. So anything that was shaded on Tammy's graph, right? Any point anywhere on the Tammy graph, that would represent a combination of mowings and rakings that would solve Tammy's inequality and therefore have Tammy reach her goal. You know, for example, what would this one be? 2 mowings and 45 rakings, okay? So like a point right here, this would work fine for Tammy. 2 comma 45, or even anything over here like, what is this, 7 comma 65, you know? So if Tammy did 7 mowings and 65 rakings, look, 7, 65, you know, anything on Tammy's graph, any combination of mowings and rakings, that would work for Tammy and have her reach her goal. Likewise for Keith, anything in Keith's shading or on Keith's graph, that would represent any point, okay? Any point. I'm trying to make this like overly clear. Any point on Keith's graph in the shading, that would be a solution to Keith's inequality and therefore have Keith reach his goal of reaching whatever amount of money he wanted. And I want to also remind you, if I didn't in the original video, I probably did, but you know, since these lines are dashed because of the strictly greater than, or same thing in Keith, strictly greater than, it's not like we had a greater than or equal to dynamic or symbol. So our lines are just dashed, and therefore, here's what I'm saying. Any point on like Tammy's dashed line, like this one for example, 5 comma 30, which would be 5 mowings and 30 rakings. If Tammy did 5 mowings and 30 rakings, you can tell just by the graph that 5 mowings and 30 rakings would not solve Tammy's inequality and therefore not have Tammy reach her goal, because it's a point on a dashed line. Like that dashed line is like a ghost line. It doesn't actually exist. Like it's not really there. So any point on a dashed line does not solve the inequality. It's not actually a part of the solution set. Likewise for Keith, like this one on Keith's dashed line, 5 mowings and 40 rakings. I can just tell by the graph that since it's on the dashed line for Keith, 5 mowings and 40 rakings would not work out for Keith. Close, but no cigar. And anyway, cutting to the chase here, what we're looking for is any point that would be on Keith's graph and not Tammy's. You know, Keith's shading, but not Tammy's shading. So that's anything in this strictly blue shading, you know, like 16 comma 5, which would be 16, which would be right there, which represents 16 mowings and 5 rakings. You know, that would be a potential answer for Part B. Okay, 16 comma 5, that would work for Keith but not for Tammy. Or even, check this out, 16 comma 0, which is right here. That would be yet another possibility for your answer for Part B. And look, there's more solutions, there's more points here, solutions, combinations, in that little shaded section, then you might realize, like, look, 17 comma 3. If Keith did 17 mowings and 3 rakings, that's like right about there. You know, that combination would work for Keith, but not for Tammy, because this point lives on Keith's graph, but not on Tammy's graph. And so that's kind of, I mean, that hopefully that is extra kind of clear. There's plenty others. There's 15 comma 5 right there. There's 14 comma 10 right there. I'm sure lives in that shading. Heck, you know, again, like 14 comma 6, which is about right there. That I'm sure would work out, you know, as a potential answer. So all kinds of answers. And also, final thing, because I think I just kind of randomly we're putting dots down here on the original video. So anything right here, like 17 comma negative 5, you know, that would actually not make sense. So like, I know this point right here technically lives on, it would be in Keith's shading but not Tammy's shading, but you can't actually give an answer of 17 comma negative 5, because saying 17 mowings but negative 5 rakings, that doesn't make any sense. You can't have negative 5 rakings. So I also just wanted to clear that up, okay?